Welcome to Antco Talks. I just wanted to have a brief word about estate planning. In the 24th of August 2021, there was new legislation passed to become effective from the 1st of November 2021. This new legislation created a compensation for people who are disinherited. Now, France has legislation which is called the Reserve hereditaire, the hereditary reserve. And this legislation basically means you can't disinherit a child. The legislation in foreign countries is based on Roman law. Why is it based on Roman law? Because in principle, a lot of people in the old ages were farmers, and the lord of the manor didn't want his manor divided between all the children, because afterwards they would lose the economy of exploiting the state. Now, what the traditional thing in the English community was, one of the children would go to the army, one of the children would become a priest, and the other one of the children would run the family business, which often was a farmer. So naturally, the actual English feudal system didn't want to divide the estate of the family, and the eldest son, who basically took over the family business, had to look after the rest of the family conceptually. Now, in modern times, we know that's not always the reality, because there's family disputes, etc. And when Napoleon came in and brought in civil code, we had the civil code countries change, and instead of having basically Roman law, we had civil code law, which created this hereditary reserve. Now, this hereditary reserve has been great, and the European Union brought in a law that you could effectively utilize your own domestic law in your own country to create your own wishes. The French decided this year that this wasn't equitable if one of the children of the deceased or the actual deceased themselves were living in Europe, and they could oppose the children the actual estate. So I repeat that because it's quite a bit confusing. If the deceased dies in France or one of the children lives in the European community, the children can oppose the wishes of the foreign jurisdiction utilizing Roman law. That has quite a serious effect, because one of the children could easily be in the European Union, especially in modern times, despite Brexit. Now, Brexit also has an effect, because if all the children live in the UK and the deceased lives in the UK, they're no longer part of the European Union, so it doesn't apply to them. But I felt that I wanted to bring this little information to you, because what it basically means is if a child opposed a foreign will, because the family are living abroad and the parent dies, or one of them are living in the European Union, it can have a serious effect on the wishes of the defunct. I also want to say something else as an addendum. When you do a will, it's very important that the foreign will is compatible with the French will. So if you create your wishes even under the foreign jurisdiction, to give you an illustration, if you do a will in a European country, you may in some countries be able to write it by hand and sign it without witnesses. If you do a will maybe in the United States or in the United Kingdom, you may need two witnesses to actually certify the will as witnesses to authenticate it. Now, I have situations where the wills were not authenticated. So what happens in the foreign jurisdiction, even though the will has been done in France, France has a problem in authenticating the French will, even though it's done correctly, with the foreign will. Plus, sometimes clients amend the will. And when they amend the will, they forget to amend it in both countries. So, as a wishing of warning, please ensure your wills are up to date in both countries. And please make sure that you comply with both countries' law. Last addendum is we're in a time of a strange world today with COVID. Nobody knows where we're going, nobody knows what's happening, so protect your families. I think it's important. I wish you well, I don't wish any harm, but by ensuring you protect your families by doing the will in both countries, at least you can ensure that your families are properly protected. We're there to help you if you've got any questions. We're your family office. Sorry to be on a note a little bit somber. Nobody particularly likes the subject, but I think it's important to make sure you know that we're there to be by your side and to help you. So don't feel any worries. Just give us a ring and we'll give you some help.